What was the process of going from Down Terrace into Kill List then? Because it seemed like by the time Down Terrace came out, it seemed like there was no time at all between that and Kill List actually coming out.
Yeah, well, basically what it was that before that, we couldn't really even get a meeting with anybody. So we couldn't even go and see the BFI or go and see Film 4 or Warp Films or any of these people. I mean, we'd been trying to get into Warp for about 2.5 years and they wouldn't touch us with the barge pole. Andy Stark and I. And then oddly, when the film came out, everyone wanted to talk to us, and that was great. And so it moved very quickly at that point. And I'd written 3 scripts, a cheap one, a middle one, and an expensive one. And the cheap one being Kill List. And when I had this meeting with Warp, and they said, "What have you got?" And I showed them the stuff, and they read Kill List and said, "Oh, we want to do that." But I'd written it very quick. You know, I'd written it over the Christmas, over like a 10-day period, and then I'd written like draft 12 on it and gave it to Warp and sworn it was my, the project I've been working on for decades and I really wanted to do. And then they kind of went, "Oh, right," and Film 4 were the same,
You wrote it over Christmas. How bad a Christmas were you having?
Oh, it was a good Christmas. It was all into the thing.
Yeah. Cool. I think we've got a clip of Kill List. If you could just put that on.
Yeah, it's funny that, I mean, look at seeing it now, we were so naive that we didn't think about where to get the money from for them to pay the thing. So the production just got it out in cash. So it's like 25 grand in cash they got out from the bank and just sat it on the table like that. And we were like, going, fucking hell, why didn't you just put the first couple as like real ones and then just, art department can make it, but no, they didn't. And then the other thing I love of this is when he says, "Oh, is that your wanking hand?" and the camera goes like that, which is Laurie Rose, the DOP, laughing. Which you see quite a lot in the films. There's that kind of movement. It's him because it's an improvised line which he wasn't ready for.
Right. I thought that was just trying to make it more intense.
No, that's Laurie laughing.
But that mix of going from that intensity to that humour, that is quite a tough thing to pull off. But you do it really well. I mean, is it a tough thing to get right? I mean, on the day, or is it something you work out in the edit?
I think it's mainly to do with the quality of the actors. If the whole thing hinges on the Strew and Roger character saying some really eggy, terrible, generic lines really, really well to start with, so you can get away with that. And if you're buying that, then the reality, and the reality of the situation, I always think, is that when things like this happen, or like a kind of really crazy thing happens, then you usually, people in reality tend to undercut it. And drama, like high drama, is something that only really exists on TV. If you watch videos of, as I do, of disasters and stuff on YouTube, people don't really react to it, anything, they just kind of blank and then just shuffle off, and I think that the kind of human reactions are very different from like TV or like cinema reactions. So this kind of just taking the piss out of it, I think, is their kind of coping mechanism.
What I like about your scripts, the scripts you and your wife Amy jump right, is that you tend to strip out a lot of exposition, keep a lot of mystery in. Is that a process of when you're writing scripts? Are you writing lots and then chipping away at it, or are you just very good at writing in that kind of very spare way?
I think that something like Kill List, there would have been extra scenes in it that were maybe a bit more on the nose and a bit more explainy, that we wrote as safety in case the film just made no sense to us. Plenty of people said it made no sense to them, but tough. So you kind of leave a certain amount of a kind of a buffer zone within a script, usually, that if Amy and I are doing, or Amy's writing it and I'm shooting it and editing it with her, then you can be a bit more elastic with that. But you can't. I think it's a different game when you're writing you've been commissioned to write a script for another production, and they go away and shoot this thing and they shoot it verbatim, then that you could have trouble with that. But then you'd hope that within the edit they would just start to crush it down. But sometimes it's that perception thing of just sometimes things, no matter how clearly the characters say it, they just don't register with the audience. And as a creator, when you're looking at it in the edits, where you're going, well, they've fucking said it. It must be retained by the audience. And then you watch it with an audience, and they clearly don't retain it. And it's, and then you have to go, yeah, I fucked it, and change it at that point.
But how much do you have to? How much do you want to leave up to there for the audience to kind of figure out themselves? Because I guess if you're explaining everything,
yeah. Well, there's something like this
engaged,
a lot, you know, because it's scarier.
Yeah.
Because if I show you the monster at the end or whatever, and what's scary for me is not scary for you, and you just go, oh God, really? Is that what it was that you were terrified of? But if it's just the thing that you're afraid of as well, and we're collectively afraid of, then it's much stronger.